Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So Caitlin Clark was named Athlete of the Year by Time magazine, and many would consider this well deserved. She is one of the most popular players in the WNBA. Some even argue she's the most popular player in the history of the WNBA. She had an incredible rookie year and ended up getting named Rookie of the Year. But unfortunately, I'm now asking the question if this is the beginning of the end, because the whole situation has now been made into a race issue.
Turned pro, and now sitting here like I'm done with my first professional season, and so much has happened. And whether it was making the national championship game or getting the Fever back to the playoffs since 2016, there's just a lot to be proud of.
Time magazine recognizes the monster impact Clark had on basketball, saying good luck naming another athlete who altered the trajectory of their entire team sport within 5 months on the job. Joining us now to talk about Clark and this latest honor is our John Sears. You've been covering Clark for years.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking since she was a little girl, really.
Yeah, really, pretty much freshman year at Dowling Catholic High School. You started to hear a little of the buzz about this really good freshman coming up through the Dowling system, and then obviously we saw it grow and grow every year.
Yeah, her talent was amazing. Even preceding that, there's video of her as literally as a child, like younger than our kids, handling a basketball. So I guess I'm curious to pick your brain a little bit.
Yeah.
Would you ever have foreseen the sort of success she's had?
No, I don't think anybody can foresee what she translated into. Certainly when she was at Dowling, you started to see the makings of, wow, she's going to be a really good college basketball player. But even then, I don't think you could say, hey, she's going to be the NCAA all-time leading scorer, and she's going to take Iowa to back-to-back national title games. And I think we sort of gloss over that point a little bit because she did it. But I think when you put that in perspective, and this is nothing against our state or our programs, but we're talking about Iowa. You know, we're not talking about UConn or South Carolina or Tennessee or Duke. She took Iowa to back-to-back national title games. That's something I doubt we'll ever see that again in our lifetime. We're going to have really good teams, but what she did at Iowa was on another level. And then she goes to the WNBA, and people are thinking, oh, is it going to translate? She's under all this pressure. She wins WNBA Rookie of the Year, sets about 1 million records, and the fan mania just follows her and follows her. And the thing about Caitlin, the reason that she's so popular, in my mind, is she does stuff that we've never seen before from a women's basketball player. And let's be honest, from about 98 to 99% of men's basketball players. Steph Curry, and then who else?
So unfortunately, while many would say that this is well deserved, they wouldn't even hesitate to acknowledge that this is well deserved. For somebody who has so many records to her name, for somebody who's helped transform the WNBA, for somebody who has helped put more money in the pockets of WNBA players, we've been saying for the longest time, we want to see them get paid more, we want to see them get more recognition. She has now been accused of bending the knee to the woke mob. The Time magazine, it's considered a woke publication. So many people feel that she was just playing up to what her host was expecting of her. And sadly, she's played into the hands of everyone who said that she's only where she is because she's white. She said, I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege. A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has kind of been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made the league incredible, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing. So when I read that, number one, I was thinking, did I read that correctly? Because Caitlin Clark normally stays neutral when it comes to this sort of thing. She doesn't buy into people saying that her fans are racist.
Caitlin, I know you mentioned that, you want to focus straight on basketball. Definitely respect that. But when, just asking you directly, when people use your name for racism, misogyny, whatever, what is your response to that specifically?
Yeah, I think it's disappointing. I think, everybody in our world, deserves the same amount of respect. The women on our league deserve the same amount of respect. So people should not be using my name to push those agendas. It's disappointing. It's not acceptable. But yeah, I mean, this league is a league I grew up admiring and wanting to be a part of. Like, some of the women in this league were my biggest idols and role models growing up and helped me want to achieve, this moment right here that I get to play in every single night. So just treating every single woman in this league with the same amount of respect, I think is just a basic human thing that everybody should do. Like, just be a kind person and treat them, how you would want to be treated. And I think it's, very simple.
James and Chloe.
Caitlin, when your head coach came out with a statement today saying she denounces all the racism that some people have felt in this league, players, trolls online, all those things, as one of the biggest stars in this league, what are your thoughts on the things not only your teammates have to endure, but just the entire league? And obviously, you've spoken on this before, but just now that you're coaching your GM, we're talking about it as well.
Yeah, it's definitely upsetting. I don't think nobody in our league should be facing any sort of racism, hurtful, disrespectful, hateful comments and threats. Those aren't fans, those are trolls, and it's a real disservice to the people in our league, the organization, the WNBA. But there are a lot of really good fans, whether they've been fans for 20 plus years or whether they're new fans in our league. I think continuing to uplift this league in a very positive light is the best thing that we can do, because there are so many great players, there's so many great teams, there are so many positive storylines that can be written and celebrated. And for me, that's why I became a fan of this league, is these people were my idols. I grew up wanting to be like them. So I think continuing to uplift and represent this league in a positive way is the best thing that we can do.
Chloe.
She normally stays out of politics and debates about race.
Caitlin, you liked an Instagram post last night from Taylor Swift that got a lot of attention. And I'm just curious if you could tell us what that post meant to you, and if you are in fact potentially going to endorse Kamala Harris. Thank you.
I think for myself is, I have this amazing platform, so I think the biggest thing would be just to encourage people to register to vote. I think for myself, this is the second time I can vote in an election. At age 22, I could vote when I was 18, so I think do that. That's the biggest thing I can do with the platform that I have, and that's the same thing Taylor did. And I think continue to educate yourself with the candidates that we have, the policies that they're supporting. I think that's the biggest thing you can do, and that's what I would recommend to every single person that has that opportunity in our country.
No, Scott.
But for some reason, this particular accolade, she decided to touch upon the subject, and she essentially agreed that she has white privilege.
And the WNBA started in 1996. First games played in 1997. It's 2024, and we're just really now talking about it. And so if Caitlin Clark is the vehicle that will bring this sport that I have loved so much and so long to little 5-year-old girls playing in Harlem, I say yes, bravo. I have no problem with that. With that being said, I do think that there is a thing called pretty privilege. There is a thing called white privilege. There is a thing called tall privilege. And we have to acknowledge that. And so part of it is about race, because if you think about the Brittany Griners of the world, why did she have to go to play in Russia?
They wouldn't pay her.
Because they wouldn't pay her.
Because they wouldn't pay, not because she was black, but because they didn't believe in the WNBA.
This is part of my point. So now, Caitlin Clark is bringing this money, these sponsorships, we hope, into the league, and other players will benefit from it. But I do think that she is more relatable to more people because she's white, because she's attractive. And unfortunately, there still is that stigma against the LGBTQ plus community. 70% of the WNBA is black. A third of the players are in the LGBTQ plus community. And we have to do something about that stigma.
A lot of her achievements are because she is white. There is no other way of looking at it. She has co-signed that very idea. Now, I cannot think of anything that is more based on merit than sports. So you can imagine the reactions. Now, I was even shocked at how strong the reactions were. I didn't expect people to turn on her, but that seems to be what is happening. Well, I guess we shouldn't be surprised, but Caitlin Clark has completely lost any respect. She bowed to the woke crowd. The WNBA just can't go back to its usual state. An absolute pathetic dumpster fire. This literally makes me sick to my stomach. Caitlin Clark is officially dead to me. Just like that. The WNBA is unwatchable again. We needed Caitlin Clark to show some courage and not bend the knee to the woke mob. and she folded like a cheap suit. Disappointed in Caitlin Clark. What does her so-called white privilege have to do with being a great basketball player? Why do we need to elevate black women when they already dominate the sport? Let's make logic great again. Caitlin Clark is aware Trump won, and there was no reason to destroy her ballooning popularity like this, right? A PR person needs to be fired immediately. WNBA star Caitlin Clark says she has white privilege. What a disgrace. There goes the only reason I barely ever thought about the WNBA. When she said, I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege. So she's saying that some of what she has earned is simply because she's white. Which one is it? Is it the Nike deal? Is it these awards? Is it Rookie of the Year? Rookie of the Year has to heavily be based on your record, on what you achieved that year, because people are going to do their homework to determine whether or not you deserve that accolade. You weren't chosen to compete in the Olympics. People were surprised about that. She's had to deal with a lot of backlash. She's had to deal with people saying that she has a bunch of racists supporting her, and she's been thrown around on the court quite a bit. Now, some people are saying she's doing this because she doesn't want to get beat up on the court anymore. And I personally think that certainly is not going to stop the woke mob coming for you. That is not going to stop people saying that you're only where you are because you are white. And unfortunately, she has played right into their hands. So now when people cry white privilege, people who have defended her don't have a leg to stand on anymore, because even Caitlin Clark believes in the existence of white privilege in 2024 and has attributed her success to white privilege, or at least in part. Nike has been giving big deals to black athletes for as long as we can remember. Nike is woke. They certainly do not discriminate when it comes to who they give deals to. They give deals to the biggest, most popular athletes, many of whom are black. This is nothing out of the ordinary. Caitlin Clark just happens to be white. So Riley Gaines said, I've yet to hear a sensible answer as to what privileges white people have over black people in the year 2024. No one was asking Caitlin Clark to position herself as a right-wing hero. All she needed to do was remain neutral. She's a phenom who inspires countless young girls to play and achieve. So I still have great admiration for her, but she missed the mark on this one. Now, I would rather people take this approach. This particular interview, this particular, award, she missed the mark. But I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater and now say she's dead to me. I think that's a bit strong, because she may reassess her words, what she said, and she may rethink the way she approaches this topic in the future. Or she may double down and she may turn into Megan Rapinoe. Only time will tell. So I think people should give her a chance. She's inspired a lot of people to get into women's basketball. People have come out to watch her play. Stadiums have sold out because of her. And it's because people enjoy seeing her play. People enjoy seeing her do her three-pointers. People enjoy coming out and watching her break records in real time. I would hate to see this set the WNBA back and turn people off and stifle the progress that has been made. But at the same time, people don't want to support those who subscribe to ideologies that they feel very strongly about, that they are strongly against. And I don't blame them for that. I wouldn't want to support people who have certain ideologies that I find very destructive. I don't think this helps the black WNBA players, to be honest, either. I don't think this helps women's basketball. I don't think it helps progress women's basketball. Black women have been dominating the WNBA from day one, so what elevation do they need? No athlete is going to receive a huge deal if that company doesn't believe it's a valid investment. They're not going to give you a deal just because of your race. Either way, whether you're black, white, Asian, they're not going to give you a deal just because of your race. They're going to give you a deal based on your popularity, based on your performance. If you're going to get people to go out and buy their product, invest in their product, so the most popular athletes are the ones who get the big deals. The more popular they are, the bigger the deal, more than likely. And Caitlin Clark is the minority in this situation when it comes to the WNBA. She is the minority. So Jamil Hill, of course, she had to weigh in on the situation. She said, so now they mad. That Caitlin Clark acknowledged that while she earned what she's gotten, she does benefit from white privilege. If you're mad at something so obvious, that means you were never a real fan of hers on the WNBA. You just liked her as long as she could be your avatar to hate on black and queer women. And this is in response to Mimi saying, Caitlin Clark just sabotaged her marketability and turned away the audience that could have made the WNBA great. I actually agree with Mimi on that one. I don't think there's anything hateful about that. When you start talking about white privilege, when you start talking about race and getting involved in the debate, it can affect your marketability. And of course, it's her fans who have helped make this sport more popular. It's her fans who have helped put money in the pocket of WNBA players, who have helped them get chartered flights, because more people are buying tickets. More people are coming out to watch these games. So of course, those people who feel strongly about this topic, who don't believe in the existence of white privilege in 2024, it's going to put them off. They don't want basketball to be turned into politics. They don't want basketball to be turned into a debate about certain ideologies, about white privilege. And people do feel personally attacked. If Caitlin Clark is saying that I benefit from white privilege, she's co-signing the idea that every white person in America is privileged above black people and other races. In sports, you have to bring the results. It's not just about being marketable. The results have to speak for themselves. And in Caitlin Clark's case, they do. It's actually indisputable. If she was a mediocre athlete and getting all these big deals that supersedes that of other players who are better than her, then yeah, maybe people would have a point. But do we see mediocre players getting these huge deals with Nike and these other companies? Do we see that with mediocre players? Or do we see that with athletes who bring results, whose records speak for themselves?
History for the Fever rookie.
They say records are meant to be broken, but nobody told Caitlin Clark she had to break 62 of them in one season. From scoring to assists, from Indiana Fever franchise records to league-wide history, Clark didn't just enter the WNBA, she turned it upside down. But what exactly are these 62 records, and how did she manage to set them all?
Make no mistake, Caitlin Clark is doing things beyond her years.
Imagine this: a packed arena, fans on the edge of their seats, and Caitlin Clark dishing out her 19th assist of the game.
Caitlin decided not to shoot. Mitchell Will hits the...
That's right, 19 assists in a single WNBA game, a feat never before accomplished. The crowd erupts, teammates rush to embrace her, and just like that, history is made. Guess what? That was just one of 62 records Clark shattered in her debut season. How is that even possible?
And that's what it comes down to. You can't take a player who's performed the way she has performed and put it down to her being white. So I would hate for this to cause irreparable damage. As of now, people are mad, but at the same time, people do forget things very easily and get over things pretty quickly, so only time will tell. I don't think this is going to get the woke mob on her side either and get people to lay off her. If anything, it's going to embolden them even more, which is one of the reasons I think this was a huge mistake. I hope I'm wrong though. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. Take care of yourselves, and God willing, I will see you in the next video.